I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for Monday, December 2nd, at 2019. Let the record reflect that it is 6:43. Can we have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Denton.
Present.
Trustee Steve.
Present.
Trustee House.
Present.
Trustee Brown.
Present.
Trustee Holmes.
Present.
Trustee Henyard.
Present.
All members of the board are here. We have a quorum. Let the record reflect the department heads are here. If we can stand for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask that you remain standing. And, we have Trustee Denton lead us in prayer tonight.
Heavenly Father, as we gather here this evening, please be with us, lead us, guide us, and let us return home to our homes safely. Amen.
Amen. Are there any general announcements tonight, Madam Clerk?
I have none, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anyone else?
I have one.
Okay. Go ahead, Trustee.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Happy holidays. I hope you ate plenty of turkey and had plenty of leftovers. My weekend was great. It was awesome. I just want to announce to you guys that I'm having a clothing / toy / wig drive on December 22nd. It will be located at the Dorchester, which is located 1515 East 154th Street. So if you guys have any clothes, going through your closet and you want to donate and give back, please, by all means, contact me at 708-297-6859. Again, that number is 708-297-6859. We're collecting any items that you do not no longer want. And basically what we're going to do is set it up, and if you know anybody in town that needs those items, they can just walk through and pick whatever it is they want. Again, December 22nd, clothing drive here in the village of Dolton. Thank you.
May I have an announcement?
Go ahead.
Okay. The Village of Dolton and on Miracle on 145th Street presents the annual Children Christmas Party. We have free food, games, music, and prizes. It'll be Saturday, December the 14th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. The M.W. Spence Cook Grand Lodge at 141 Chicago Road. Children with the ages of 2 through 12 will receive gifts. And if you need additional information, please contact Trustee Andrew Holmes, and we have the Grand Master of the Lodge, Lee, and I do have their numbers available. Wrap toy donations are greatly appreciated and must be dropped off at the Village of Dolton. So the information is incorrect. We do have the flyers, but the address is 14141 Chicago Road, which is directly across the street next door to the liquor store. So we are having a Christmas party along with the Spence Cook Grand Lodge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee. Next thing is citizens' address, and this is limited to the discussion of anything on the agenda items.
Good evening, everyone. Under new business ordinance, and I'm glad that Mr. Kasparek is here because maybe he can answer this, or the attorney or the mayor. New business ordinance number 19-023, tax levy for the general and corporate purposes for the 2019 tax year beginning May 1st of this year and ending April 30th next year for the Village of Dolton. Can someone explain, are we raising the taxes? And if so, if we have over $6 or $7 million cash on hand, according to the last finance meeting, and we have a reserve of cash or monies we on hand also from the budget, would it be necessary to raise the tax? That's my question.
John, you want to address this? Yes.
Close to floor.
You what?
Close to floor first. Good evening, Mayor and citizens of the Village of Dolton. My name is John Kasparek, and I work as a financial consultant for the Village of Dolton for a number of years. This year, we've assumed a greater role of handling more accounting functions. To answer your question specifically, the levy that I prepared and discussed with some of the board members based on feedback from them, the tax levy that will be extended for the operating levies, which would be the general fund and the police and fire pension funds, because we have 3 levies. Those are our operating levies, are being extended at a 0% increase over the prior year. So last year's extension was $10,344,000, and this year's is also going to be $10,344,416 for the operating levies as required by the Truth in Taxation. To answer the other question, debt service is already been set when the village issued bonds. So the bonds are going up $182,000. That's just a product of the amortization schedules that were created with the different bond issues that the village has. That's going up 3.77%, so the overall increase would be 1.2%. But the operating levies, the ones that operate your village, that's a 0% increase.
So the main vote tonight, are they voting the ordinance tonight?
That you'd have to ask the board.
Will there be an increase from the later year? Pay $5,000 a year in taxes. Try to the following year when it will get into effect, or a year after, will we see an increase in our taxes?
That's a extremely complicated question, and I don't mean to blow it off. I understand entirely. The easiest way I can tell you this is that each year the equalized assessed valuation of the village can either go up or down. Every 3 years we have what they call a triennial. You may have heard of that before from the county. Okay, well, the question is very complicated. You might as well try to explain it, watch the way it moves, because there's so many moving parts. The bottom line is we can say there's going to be a 0% increase, but depending on how the equalized assessed valuation of this entire community goes, whether it goes up or goes down, is going to have a final impact on your property. So if there's major commercial properties that are protesting, which believe me they do in every one of these towns in Illinois, if they get favorable rulings from the circuit court, their fair market values are reduced. Okay, well, the taxes are still going to remain the same. If we were levying $10 million, we're still going to levy $10 million, except now their portion of the pie is less. That means all the rest of the properties have to pick up the difference. So to answer the question, will any properties go up in taxes, it really is a very complex computation of, simplest way put, your value of your property is the numerator, the value of all the property in the Village of Dolton is the denominator. And whatever your percentage is, if it goes up or down from the prior year, is going to dictate how your taxes are going to go up or go down.
Educated guess, up or down?
Last year's EAV went down 3%. So even if the taxes were 0, everybody would have probably paid more money because the EAV went down. I'd imagine the EAVs go down because of your commercial businesses. So they pay less. That means residential typically will go up. Now, will they go up 3%, 2%? That I think everybody, when you get your second installment, just look at your last year's second installment. That gives you an idea. Though last year the tax structure was different than is being proposed this year by the village. There is a 0 increase, so I don't anticipate there'd be a lot of increase, if any, on your tax bill related to the Village of Dolton. Keep in mind, when you look at that final tax bill, that's the one you really want to look at, because that has all the taxing bodies. That has Thornton Township, that has Cook County Forest Preserve, South Suburban College, whatever elementary school district you're in, 205, the Park District, mosquito abatement. So you have a number of them, the Village of Dolton just being one of them, probably somewhere I would say second or third highest, probably the third highest, between the grade school being first, almost always. And okay, so then, all right, and then you'll have the grade school too. I'm sure grade schools are going to be higher in the village. That's not uncommon because they have a much smaller EAV. So we probably would be the third largest portion of the bill. But you would see that on your second installment of your bill when it comes in. So I wish I could tell you for sure. I could tell you that the taxes that are being proposed are not increasing the operating levies, and that's what the truth in taxation is about. And I did disclose in discussions with the board. I also did the debt service levies, because that's part of your levy as well, even though it's not required of the truth in taxation. So we're looking at the overall increases being approximately 1.2%. Now, if the EAV goes way up because of new construction, and we all know the south suburbs don't have a lot of new construction, but when you do have new construction, that can lower the tax rates for all of the property owners in the village of Dolton.
Another portion of my question, maybe Chris can answer. Cash on hand. We're told we have so many millions in the bank. Cash on hand. Number two, the surplus in our budget. Is it still there? We were told, I think, $750,000 at one time. Do you know what that is now? Because this is a relationship to taxes being going up and down, and the cash on hand that we have at the bank.
You got a couple of questions. Let's answer the first question. First question, you said there was approximately $6 million of cash on hand as of April 30th. Keep in mind that, and I don't know if it's exactly $6 million, but we'll go on the premise. Okay, but you all will always have cash on hand at the end of a fiscal year. The main reason being is that,
Right now, what do we have cash?
oh, I don't know. Do you know, Chris?
The last report that you're referring to was as of October 31st.
If it says up October, once again, you're getting your second installment of real estate taxes. There's 2 times that the village is really going to look good on a balance sheet. March, end of February, March, April, that's when the first installment comes in. People are, and then well, you're asking the question, but I am explaining the question. The second installment comes in August and September, which means typically your cash position is going to be very favorable still in October, because real estate taxes, which is your largest revenue, basically comes in 4 months out of 12. Pardon?
People want to know.
I am.
Okay, this is tell me what November.
Yeah.
Well,
Speaking to the mic.
I'm addressing the tax levy. I did not come prepared tonight to address the finances, because I was not told that to address the finances, because the tax levy was on the agenda. So that's what I was trying to explain.
Thanks, John. Closing the floor to the citizens' address. Next thing on the agenda is the village clerk's report.
Before you ask. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and trustees. On the agenda this evening are 3 meeting minutes for the October 26th, November 4th, and November 18th. The October 26th meeting was the public hearing on the cannabis proposal. November 4th, regular board meeting. November 18th, committee of the whole. I would ask for a motion to approve separately or together.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve all, just bundle these together, the October 26th, 2019 public hearing meeting, November 4th, 2019 regular board meeting, and November 18th committee of the whole meeting?
Motion to approve all meeting minutes collectively.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve the minutes as stated. Any discussion? No discussion, roll call.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Steve?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Holmes?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Present.
Motion carries, 6 ayes. Communications.
No, 5 and a present.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Trustee Henry voted present.
Okay. Next thing is communications.
On the agenda, just to point out, under new business is the proposed schedule of 2020 meetings. As required by statute, the board is to approve this before the end of the year. I would ask at that time under new business, or at this time, if the board so chooses, to approve the proposed schedule. It's based on our previous board meeting schedules. And again, with the holidays listed are based on federal holidays.
Okay.
So we can either do it now or under the last item under new business.
We can do it now.
Okay, so I would ask for a motion to approve the Village of Dolton Board of Trustees scheduled meetings 2020.
Can I get a motion to approve the 40 dates for the trustees meeting?
Motion to approve 2020 Village of Dolton trustee meeting schedule.
Okay, it's been motioned to approve the so noted meetings that's before us for the year of 2020. Any discussion? No discussion, roll call.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Steve?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Holmes?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Motion carries, 6 ayes. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the engineer's report. Mr. Smith is not here today. We'll move forward with committee reports. Finance Trustee House.
Good evening, everybody. Just a brief report. Last month, well, for November and December, we did not have a finance committee meeting scheduled. However, given some of the discussion that may come up in new business I've spoken with Trustee Steve, and in the finance committee meeting, we'll stand ready to host a meeting this month pending the results of our discussion on that meeting topic. So there will be updates depending on the outcome of that action item. That concludes the finance report.
Okay, Housing Trustee Brown.
Okay. This report is for the month of October. As is cell inspections, we had 18. Board ups, we had 2. Quick claim deeds, we had 16. Cell inspections, 19. Grass invoices, 8. And rental license are 23. And definitely, we will have a housing meeting for January, and I'll let you know about the date forthcoming. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. Police and Fire, Trustee Holmes.
Good evening, residents. This is the Dolton Fire Department incident activity, and this report is from January 1st, 2019 until November 30th, 2019. Fires, there was a total call of 200 motor vehicle accidents, 277 emergency medical service, 2,815 hazardous conditions, 194 fire service call, 340 fire alarms, detector activation, 307 special incidents, 5 technical rescues, 4, with a total of 4,142. Our stats on from the police department, there were, on first watch, this is from the month of November only. First watch, there were 97. Second watch, 43. Third watch, 71, with a total of 211. Previous month, 193. Parking violations, first watch, 68. Second watch, 32. Third watch, 58. Total of 158. Previous month, 174. Criminal arrests were 39 on the first watch. Second watch, 8. Third watch, 25. Total of 72. Previous month was 75. One warrant arrest was on first watch. We had another warrant arrest second watch. Third watch, 0. Total of 2. Previous month was 10. That will complete the Village of Dolton police report. But on another note, I'm going to be meeting with the chief, certain individuals, because on the traffic stops, I understand that they are going to, when they get stopped for traffic, that's only when they violate. But I understand they go into court and mark them. I'm going to be looking into some and see how we can bring that court on traffic to Dolton, so revenue could just come here. I mean, I'm quite sure the police department are not out just looking for revenue. But if you violate on a traffic stop and you're wrong, it's just my opinion. I think they should be coming to court in Dolton, not Markham. That completes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Holmes. Public Works, Trustee Steve.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing today, this evening? Public Works, I'm going to do Public Works, and I'm going to do Melanie Fitness after this. As you can see before you walked in, we got 2 new dump trucks for the wintertime. Matt Stacy, could you just inform the residents the benefits of having these trucks and why we got these trucks, and how this will help the community moving forward this wintertime?
The 2 trucks that were...
Oh, to get the other one.
Can you hear this? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Thank you. The 2 new trucks that are out front right now are one's a 2011 and one's a 2012. Those 2 trucks are replacing the 2 1999s that were broken down. These are used trucks, but they've been gone through by a company out in Indiana, and we've purchased 3 trucks from them previously 5 years ago, and those trucks are still up and running well. Everything on these trucks outside new would be the dump body, the plow, the spreader, and the whole hydraulic system. So we're going to save money with everything being brand new that's going to be being used every moment of the day when it's snowing outside. So we appreciate the mayor and trustees approving us to get these new trucks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Matt. And I'd like to thank all the trustees who supported the village and supported Public Works to vote to get these new trucks. Also, brown paper bag pickup is going until December 6th. So if you still have brown paper bags to put out there, it will be picked up until December 6th. That's the end of my Public Works report. I will be having a Public Works Committee meeting. It will be announced through email and on our website when I have it. I'm trying to have it this month. And this month we're going to have, when I do my Public Works Committee meeting, of course I'm going to have Public Works there, the people who work at Public Works, and then I want to have the Water Department there as well to answer any questions as far as that goes. The next thing I want to talk about is Melanie Fitness Center. And as you know, the Melanie Fitness Center, the pool is up. I would like to encourage everyone to come out and get a membership. But this past week we had the aqua aerobics house music aqua aerobics class. So I got some pictures for here. So if you can see the pictures, it was well attended, and people really love the water. People really love to work out, and you see the water. That's a nice picture. I took it, by the way. But it's a nice pool, and the spirit of Melanie Fitness is up, and the money is growing as far as the memberships coming in, the people coming back. This last November we had 30 people come back and renew their membership. So the word is getting around, and the word is getting out, and they're coming back to renew their membership. And also, we're looking at January 11th. January 11th, we are going to have the South Suburbs, including Dolton, the No Excuse Boot Camp for the new year. So that's going to be January 11th, a free boot camp. The next day will be the weigh-in for the next $1,000 weight loss challenge. These things are highly successful because we get new members, we get new faces, and we get new people come out. So January 11th, we have a no excuse boot camp that we invite everybody out to come in to work out, because I know everybody has their New Year's resolutions. They want to work out, they want to get their body fit, and we just hope people stick with it. And I want to give a big hooray or big shout out to Trustee Copeland. She got her membership today from the library board. So I would encourage everyone to come out and get your membership at Melanie Fitness. It's in your town. We have the Detox Cafe, and pretty soon we'll have the massage therapy room open. We're generating revenue there to make it self-sufficient. So it's on the way up. And that's it for my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Steve. Okay, corporate bills. Trustee House.
Okay, and I heard mention at the last one, so I want to thank Trustee Denton for the reminder acknowledgement that the corporate bills were not read in their entirety the previous meeting. So to make sure that was an oversight on my behalf, and make sure that moving forward we continue to do it as we have in the past. So thank you for that. With that being said, I ask that we have a motion that we pay the corporate bill register dated December 2nd, 2019, with corporate payments of $644,074.78, manual checks of $12,931, gross payroll for November 8th, $359,268.78, gross payroll 11/22/19 of $362,962.85. Melanie Fitness Center register number 150, payments of $5,229.64, with gross payroll for November 8th, $6,665.13, gross payroll for November 22nd, $9,697.09, for total corporate payments of $1,400,829.27. I want to make a motion that we pay the bills.
Can you get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to pay corporate bills.
Second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to pay the corporate bills as read. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got some questions.
Go ahead.
I guess this one question is for Matt. I'm trying to understand the tree cutting. Why is it that Public Works can't cut majority of the trees? Why do we keep outsourcing it? I see there's a bill for $25,000 to pay for trees, but I don't know what locations or where did they cut the trees at. Can you respond to that?
Some of the trees that are out there, I know on this report, it was probably over on the west side. Those trees were big trees. Our guys aren't set up with the knowledge as the outside company to where they're roping the trees as they're cutting them so they don't fall down, hit people's homes and all that. So that's why we contract the larger trees out.
Okay, so all of that added to $25,000, and none of that you guys could have done?
Trustee, I'm just going to address this. We don't have the equipment to cut some of those trees that's
Mayor, with all due respect, can Matt respond? He is the department head.
We go through this every year with you.
We're not going through anything. I'm asking questions about the warrant list. You want me to pay bills? I'm asking questions to the department head.
Yeah,
nothing against you.
This is the first year that's been approved to get trees cut. And some of those trees, if you take a look at them, especially on the west side, 50 to 100 years old, we don't have the equipment to do it. And the ones that we do, they cut trees. They cut plenty of trees.
Okay, you done, Mayor? Matt, the reason why I was asking those questions is because I was just trying to get a better understanding of how your department was ran and who hired the contractors. Like, do you send it out for hire for the contractors? Like, who picks the company to come in and cut the trees?
We've always used the one company, Pekarsky's Trees. Any major trees, the big ones and that, we've called them in the past, and we do that in the present. We're not set up to cut these large trees. We don't have the equipment.
Okay.
And that's a big safety issue with the guys. They're not going to go and start cutting trees if they're not, set up to do it.
Okay, and that's the only company. You never used another company to do so?
No, since I've been here, that's the only one we've used.
Okay. My next question is, I see that you have a cleaning service bill on here for $1,200. It said, was there a body removed from the jail? I was a little confused with that one. I guess I'm asking because I don't know. I guess it could be the police department maybe, or Mayor, if you want to answer that.
I don't know what department it came from.
What was that?
I don't know what department you're referring to.
It said a cleaning specialist bill for $1,200 in jail for body removal. What is that?
Trustee, it would be helpful for the minutes if you could identify the pages on the warrant list to which these items are listed.
Well, I don't have the pages in front of me. I just wrote my questions so I can just bam, 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 go through them. I didn't write a page down. If you want to look for it, y'all can, but it's on the warrant
Our
list.
warrant list is page 12 of 13.
Well, there you go.
Thank you, Trustee.
You know anything about that, Chief? Okay.
That would be anything that we, as a biohazard, that the officers are not equipped to handle. So we would have to call in a company to remove the biohazard, anywhere from feces to blood to something that they couldn't handle. So it's basically a biohazard.
Okay, thank you. My next question is credit card invoices. I've asked at the last board meeting, and I don't know if you guys recall, the mayor stated that we could put the credit card bills on the warrant list. It is not on here. I've asked, and I cannot approve bills and not know what I'm approving because I have nothing in front of me to say, the mayor could have went on a trip with the credit card. How would I know? Because the bill is not in front of me. So again, Mayor, what happened to you putting the credit card bills on the warrant list?
I don't put the credit card bills on the warrant list, and you have the opportunity to vote no on anything that's on the warrant list.
I understand my rights as a trustee. I don't need
All
you
right.
to inform me. My question was, I asked for you to place it on the warrant list.
I don't put things on the warrant list.
No. Last board meeting, you stated we can, and it's not on here. The credit card bills. I would like to see itemized credit card bills on the warrant list moving forward for the record, because I cannot make good decisions based off of the information you're giving me without the credit card bills. I need that. Other than that, I am voting blindly, so is the entire board. So I would advise the board to look into that and understand what they're voting for, because we're just voting for stuff and not knowing what we're approving.
Then vote no.
I know that, Mayor, but my question to you is, why isn't the credit card bills on the warrant list? As you stated, it would be.
May I, if I can, I know I had a conversation before with the finance company, and I'm glad they're here. The initial reason that I was given for it not being on the warrant list was that it's not issued as a check, it's coming as an automatic deduction. However, we have had discussions about getting that on there. I believe that there may have been some miscommunication on there. So I agree with the statement that it should be on there, and I can ask, since we're here and we have everybody there, can you stand up and acknowledge, I will for the record, that we will move forward and have that on the warrant list?
I can have it placed on the warrant list, but it can't be on the warrant list that you guys approve with all the other bills, because I can't run with the same exact. I can have it as two separate.
Talking to the mic, please. Grab the mic.
So I can run it on the warrant list, but it can't be run with the same warrant list that you guys approve every month, because it has to be run as two separate, because one automatically affects cash in the month of the activity. So today, November, all of the cash transactions, the electronic payments, all of those will have hit cash as of November 30th. All the checks, if you guys approve them tonight, will hit December 2nd. I can't run them at the same exact time. I have to have two separate warrant lists.
I'm okay with two warrant lists if that's okay with the board.
Yes, I just want to itemize to know what's going on and how taxpayer dollars is being spent. So I do appreciate that. So you won't hear my mouth again, as long as you guys put it on the warrant list.
Promise.
My next question is Restore Construction. You had a bill for $6,600. Can you kind of explain to me what it is they did? Was it just like board up, or what was that?
They're a board-up company. They do board-ups on the call-outs on vacant properties, burglaries, and they've been doing it for the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
It's been appearing on the warrant list for that amount of time also.
And then the same for Five Star Construction for $15,000?
Five Star Construction is our concrete company. They've been on the warrant list for at least last 2 or 3 years, I know, for emergency work and also any concrete work that needs to be done.
Okay.
Mayor, may I say something?
Go ahead, trustee.
They were on the warrant list once before, and I can recall we did not approve them because the work hadn't been finished. Has that work been finished now?
Yeah, that was last year or 2 years ago. Last year, I think it was. Yeah, everything's been completed. And the reason that they had submitted those bills early was because we were so far behind in paying them. You done, trustees? Henry?
Yep, I'm done. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the corporate bills as stated. There is a second also.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Steve?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Holmes?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
No, because I don't have credit card bills.
Okay, fine. Motion carries 5 ayes. Next thing on the agenda is old business, ordinance number 19-019, amending the Village of Dolton zoning code by adding new chapter 14, regulations for cannabis business establishments. Can I get a motion on this ordinance?
Motion to approve ordinance number 19-019.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second to approve ordinance 19-019, and that is the amending of the Village of Dolton zoning code, adding chapter 14 for, regulations for cannabis business establishments. Any discussion on this? Roll call.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Steve?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Holmes?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
Motion carries 6 ayes. Ordinance number, item B, ordinance number 19-020, amending Title III, Business and License Regulations of the Village of Dolton Code by adding new chapter 25, Regulation of Cannabis Business Establishment thereto. Can I get a motion on the adoption of ordinance number 19-020?
I make a motion to pass ordinance number 19-020.
The second.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second to adopt ordinance number 19-020, amending the Title III, Business and License Regulations of the Village of Dolton by adding new chapter 25, Regulations of Cannabis Business Establishments thereto. Any discussion? No discussion. Roll call.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Steve?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Holmes?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
And 6 items. I'm sorry. 6 votes. Motion passes. Item C, ordinance number 19-021, imposing a municipal cannabis retailer's occupation tax. May I get a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve ordinance number 19-021.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's motion and seconded to adopt ordinance 19-021, imposing a municipal cannabis retailer's occupation tax. Any discussion?
Yes. I guess this to Attorney Murphy. Where would the money for the retailer's tax, where would that go?
Where will the money go?
Yeah, like
Well-
when we collect it, what is it being utilized for?
That's ultimately up to the board. Let me mention, I think everybody understands that this is being put in place in anticipation that retail business might come in. We don't have any retail business in town, so if and when a retailer comes in, they'll be permitted to operate, and then when the sales, this is an additional sales tax, when it comes in, it's up to the board to decide where to allocate it.
Yeah, so my suggestion.
When the time comes.
Okay, well, I'm just putting this for the record. I think my suggestion should be we should make something special for this money. I don't think it should just be placed into the general fund, whether it's something for the youth, something for the seniors, something. I just think we should make a special program for that money. That's for the record. That was it.
Any discussion? Any further discussion? My thoughts were, depending on the amount of the sales tax that we receive from the sale of cannabis, were to possibly put in place a property tax rebate for the residents, depending on the amount of sales that we have. It's being done in other areas. Depending on how many locations that we have, the sales of the cannabis, and the amount of the revenue that's generated, it could be, say, on the low end, $3 million. On the high end, could be highest $10 to $13 million. So I think if we put something in place to try to give the property tax owners some relief in their property taxes here in Thornton Township. Next item is D, ordinance number 19-022, amending section 3-3-12 of the Dolton Village Code, village surveillance cameras on premises. Trustee Henry.
Mayor, did we vote on C? I don't think we voted.
I'm sorry.
No, we didn't vote
Moved
yet.
too fast.
Skip.
I'm sorry. You want to vote on that? Take the vote. Roll call.
On 19-021, municipal retailers tax, municipal cannabis retailers occupation tax. Approval of Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Steve.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Holmes.
Aye.
Trustee Henry.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 ayes. Now item D, ordinance number 19-022, amending section 3-3-12 of the Dolton Village Code, video surveillance cameras on premises. Trustee Henry.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 19-022.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned to approve ordinance 19-022, the amending of the section for video surveillance cameras. Any discussion?
Yes, just a brief overview. This ordinance will entail that anybody with a liquor license in the village of Dolton will have to have cameras in their establishment, and it will have to be accessible by our police if it's a crime or anything like that. I put this up based on all the crime that was going on in the village of Dolton. We've been talking about it. We vetted it through for the last 2 months, so now we have an ordinance. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion on this? Roll call.
Yeah, hold on, Mayor.
Go ahead, Trustee.
What I would like to know, I mean, I'm with the cameras and surveillance, but what do we have in place as far as those owners that neglect to give us the footage or just put cameras up and saying they ain't working? So what are we going to do from there? If there's a crime there, and I've seen this over and over again, yeah, we got the cameras up, but the cameras ain't working. So what do we have in place to do with those owners that don't have any that's saying they got cameras, but they're saying that they're not working? What are we doing then?
Well, it's a couple things we can do. That's why we've vetted this through for the last 2 months. You could have gave your suggestions, such as if they do not obey to our laws, we can put a fine in place and fine them. I also suggested that we did a inspection every 6 months to make sure that the cameras are working and they are up to code with the village of Dolton. If you want to add anything or amend anything to this law, by all means, please add it.
Yeah, I don't want to wait 6 months. I'd rather have them checked every month.
You can add whatever you like. You had 2 months to vet this through and add to it.
Well, I'm putting it out there now. I'd rather have it every month. I don't want to wait 6 months.
Now, that's up to the board. Whatever the board choose to do, let's rock and roll.
Yeah, I would ask that if it'd be a month. 6 months is just too long.
So you have to. So while you're suggesting that, you have to make sure you have the manpower to do so, which I know the village lacks a lot of. B, you have to make sure the residents are okay with every month going into the establishment, because how would you do the manpower as it relates to inspections?
Yeah, I don't mind going myself checking them.
Well, you can't. You're a trustee now. You're on the other end. You're
but I'm
government
going
now.
to work with the police department or whoever it is to go in there and check. We're losing too many lives all over the United States, so I'm not waiting 6 months.
That ain't how laws work, but by all means, if any trustee up here would like to amend this law, you can. If you want to add month to month, we can. If you want to do every 6 months, we can. I'm open. Okay, so there it is, every 6 months.
I'm open to a month.
Well, actually, there's nothing in the ordinance that specifies a time frame.
Okay, Attorney
At this
Murphy.
time.
Well, the frequency of inspections is up to, the administration to do in connection with all its other responsibilities. These are public places, so it should be fairly easy for staff to do an inspection. If I can answer one of Trustee Holmes' other questions, he asked about enforcement. What we've put in this ordinance, in addition to the normal fines, violations of this ordinance can subject the licensee to a liquor license suspension or even revocation. So I think rather than having a mechanical automatic inspection, if you've got a problem licensee, you'd want to inspect them more frequently to make sure they've got the equipment operational. So I don't think any of that needs to be in the ordinance, just becomes a matter of normal law enforcement like police would enforce any other law.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
On the motion to approve ordinance number 19-022, Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Steve.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Holmes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no, because my reason is they ought to be inspected more than 6 months, and that's just where I'm at.
Trustee Henyard.
If people read the ordinances, they will see the law. Pay attention to Dolton business. Aye.
5 ayes, one nay. Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is item E, approval of Melody Fitness massage therapy lease. Trustee Steve.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Can I get a motion? I want to make a motion to approve the Melody Fitness massage therapy lease.
Second.
Okay. It's been motioned and seconded to approve the Melody Fitness massage therapy lease. Any discussion?
Yes. Again, this is another way to generate revenue for the Melanie Fitness Center, and it also adds to the whole health experience. When you get over there, you can come work out, you can get in the pool, you can get a detox from the detox cafe, you can also get into the massage therapy room and get a massage, and she deals with Reiki and energy and all that stuff. So you can, we want to create a whole health experience when you come to Melanie Fitness. So that's why we're doing this.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yes. As you guys know, I asked about this at the last board meeting. I am going to approve this. They will get my vote for it, but I don't appreciate it when we don't put things out for bid so other people in the community can benefit from the things we offer. I am going to go with it, though, Trustee Steve.
Roll call.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Steve.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Holmes.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 ayes. New business. Ordinance number 19-023, levying taxes for general and corporate purposes for the 2019 tax year beginning May 1st, 2019 and ending April 30th, 2020 for the Village of Dolton. Can I get a motion on this?
I motion that we table this to committee. I believe that we should do a town hall meeting and let the residents be heard before we put another tax levy in place.
This is question. From my understanding, this is not raising the taxes one bit.
Well, we got several emails stating 1%, some stating 6%. So, Attorney Murphy.
The tax, yeah.
Well,
Got to see if there's a second on the motion to table.
yeah. Is there a second on the motion to table?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
No discussion on a motion to table. Trustee Denton. Aye. Trustee Steve.
No.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Brown.
No.
Trustee Holmes.
No.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
Motion fails.
Motion to table fails. Now, get a motion to approve ordinance number 19-023.
I want to make the motion to approve for discussion purposes. I'm not sold on the ordinance itself, but I do want to begin the discussion so that residents and all can hear what's going on before moving forward. So I'll motion that we approve 19-023 for discussion.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion for discussion. Tonight? No, I said there's a motion for discussion. You want to discuss it tonight? Yeah. Okay. And a second to discuss it. Any discussion on that?
Can we hear from Kasperic one more time? But from my understanding, when I talked to John Kasparic and or emails, that there is no tax increase. That was the main question I asked. Does this mean a tax increase for the residents? And he said, no, it is not. It's not a tax increase. And I know he can get, when he talks about the numbers and everything, it can get real kind of convoluted. But the bottom line, are we raising taxes, yes or no? And if, from my understanding, what I was told was no.
Mayor, trustees, the ordinance before you today reflects only the operating levies. I did bring up, just for informational purposes, the debt service levies. The operating levies will be identical to the same levies that were extended last year, which is $1,368,000 for the Chicago water judgment, $5,011,717 for the police department, $2,489,113 for the fire department. Those two departments also include their pension levies. And the Public Works Department, $1,465,487 for a total amount of $10,334,317, which equals what was on the 2018 tax levy agency report from Cook County for the operating funds. So to answer the question, the levy itself is extended at zero. I would bring your comments, or would bring up Section 2 of the ordinance. Do you want me to discuss that? Okay. Last year, Section 2, let me back up a little bit for the trustees and the mayor. I did prepare a booklet today, and within that booklet, there's a plethora of information covering the tax levies and the histories of the tax levies. One of the pages that I find very helpful as a finance director or a financial advisor for municipalities is the last page, which is tax levy collections, because it's the actual dollars that we receive that we are able to spend. So we can set a tax levy and the levy can be passed by Cook County. Doesn't mean that 100% of the property owners are paying their taxes. In addition, just as a point of information, when businesses or homeowners do get refunds of prior year taxes, they come out of our current year collections. Cook County, by law, does not set up a reserve for taxes that are collected in a current year that may be refunded back in later years. So that comes out of our current collections as well. But if you go to look at the last page, the 2018 tax levy, which was extended in 2019, to date, out of the $15,155,998 that was extended, $11,847,956 was received. That includes the Dolton levy, the police fire levies, the bond, and the 4 bond escrow accounts. That's 78%. So in other words, as we speak, as of October 31st, 78% of the tax levy was collected, 22% was not collected. And just for everybody's edification, we don't pay 78% of our debt service payments. We pay 100%. So the general fund has to make up those differences. You can see the history that I've gone on to show for the 2017 levy, 16, 15, 14, and 13. We're averaging in the mid-80, 85 percentile. I would imagine we're still going to get, I'm certain we'll still get more tax levy collections because there are individual property owners that do pay late, so we will receive more taxes as we move forward. But the 78% is a trending downward. Hopefully that is not going to remain that way. Hopefully it will get back up into the mid-80s. I bring that to your attention because when we're preparing the levy, the county has the ability to extend what is called in loss in cost. Loss in cost is to make up for those dollars that are not being collected. Last year, the loss in cost extension was set at 14%, reflecting the 15+% that the village is not collecting because we're requesting X, but we're getting X times 85%. In other words, we're getting 85, or in this case, well, just 85%. Keep it that way. Get technical. And so this year, in Section 2, I'm recommending to not extend another 14%, because that would in fact increase the levy up by a total of 14%. In Section 2, I'm recommending that the levy increases be dropped down to 6%, and that 6% would only be applied to the two pension funds, the police and fire, and to the debt service funds. For the general fund, which also includes the tort immunity amount due to the city of Chicago, I'm not suggesting any loss in cost. So that means that if we follow our history, we're going to get 85% or maybe 78% of our levy, and we're just going to have to operate within those dollars. I'm not suggesting to increase for those. The reason I'm recommending the increases for the police and the fire pension is because of the state laws that indicate if we're not making our minimum required contributions, both the police and fire pension funds have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the village is in fact levying sufficient dollars and paying those dollars over to the pension funds. If not, they have within state statutes the right to do intercept payments. Intercept payments, they don't have to go before the council. They submit the numbers to the comptroller's office, and the comptroller's office will just withhold our sales. They'll start with sales tax collections. Debt service, if we don't have 100% of the payments in hand, we have to make up the difference. When I say we, I mean the village. Traditionally, what we'll do in those cases, at least since I've been here, is that we will transfer money. In fact, I believe on the last agenda there was a motion to transfer funds from the general fund to cover the shortfalls in the debt service. The last thing we want to do is default on our bonds, so we will transfer money from the general fund. Unfortunately, once again, the general fund is the operating fund of the village that operates all of the funds outside of water and sewer, so we would take the money from there. That's why I'm recommending adding on to 6%. Now, that 6% will not be enough, but to compensate, but it won't increase the levy significantly. In fact, overall, with this 3%, with the 6% loss in cost, the effective increase is 3% on the whole levy because of loss in cost. But that will be extended by the county, not by the city here or the village. Is that a little?
Can I just summarize what I heard?
Please.
Operating level levy 0%.
Correct.
The loss in cost would be a 3% based on the recommendation.
The loss in cost would be 6%.
6% based
for
on the
police and
recommendation.
fire pensions, 6% for debt service. It would not be attached to the $7+ million of the levy that's related to the general fund as well as to the tort immunity levy.
Question, so the 6%, does that mean a 6% increase in our taxes? Does that mean, because you're saying no increase in taxes, then you say we gotta raise the levy 6%?
The ordinance you're passing is a zero increase.
Zero increase. So
now understand, there's a lot of moving parts. Don't shoot the messenger here, okay?
What I'm saying is, will we see an
ordinance
increase in that 6%? Will I see that in my property taxes when I get my property tax bill?
Well, as I explained before, I don't have the crystal ball to know what the EAV will be on the village of Dolton as well as the individual properties. Will you get an increase? I imagine so. Property values in Cook County continue to go down. But because property taxes go down, your values, the taxes themselves don't go down. They stay, even if they stay the same, you're going to pay more in taxes. That's just the reality of our tax system here in Illinois, especially here in the south suburbs of Cook County. So will anybody see an increase? I'm certain that there'll be increases because the EAVs are trending downward, not upwards. With that being said, is it going to go up more exponentially with the village if you're adding a 6% loss in costs for the pension funds as well as the debt service? The overall increase on the levy I have in the book, I believe I said was like 3%, 3.1. So that's loss in cost added by the county. If you were raising the levy 3% and the county was adding 3%, the county was adding 6%, you'd be looking at a 6% increase in the levy, because you would be adding 3% to this ordinance. This ordinance you're not adding any extra money to. Last year when you passed the ordinance, 14% got added on. Years past it was 8, you went to 14. I'm recommending that it come back down 6 just for the pension funds and only for the debt service, which is different and actually is lower than you have been doing for the past close to a decade.
The only question I have is that you're saying no. Yeah, you're saying a lot. You're saying we will not see an increase, and then you're saying we got to raise the 6%. So to me, it seems like it's not making sense. Maybe because I'm not versed in as well as you are, but you're telling me we're not, by voting this ordinance in tonight, will we get a tax increase, yes or no? And you're saying no, and then you're saying it's 6% increase.
You could have lowered the taxes and residents still could see an increase if the EAVs of the village dropped down. That's impossible for anybody to stand up here from anywhere saying they know what the individual taxes are going to be for anybody. We do know one thing that happens in Cook County. Most governments do not lower their taxes. If at a minimum, they keep them the same. When the EAVs go down, everybody's going to pay more taxes because you still have to pay those taxes. EAVs go down, but taxes do not. Taxes remain the same, or they might potentially go up. The laws of Illinois are you're asking two questions, and I'm trying to answer them both the way they should be answered by the law. The law asks, what are you raising the levy to in this ordinance that's before you? That's the truth in taxation. It covers your operating levies. And I explained the operating levies are your general, your police, and fire. I said that is zero. That is a fact. This levy equals what was extended last year. That's what truth in taxation asks for. Now, I, as a finance director, also bring up the fact that there's loss and cost. That's not addressed in truth in taxation. But loss and cost is addressed to make up for those shortfalls in collections. Shortfalls in collections, as I just explained to you, right now we're 22% short as of October 31st on the levies requested. So we're working off 78% of the money that we requested, and that's the largest single line item that the village receives as far as a revenue source. In fact, it pays 100% of the pension fund levies for police and fire, and it pays 100% of the debt service levies. Or the principal and interest. So if you're only collected 78%, the village is making up 22%. So it's coming out of your corporate fund. And the corporate fund runs police, fire, public works, all health insurance, workman's comp, all of the general operations of the city. So I'm just trying to say is that in your ordinance that has been prepared in the past, Section 2 last year read that the county clerk is requested to extend 14% on top of the levy requested. That's outside of truth in taxation. Loss and cost, making up for the fact that we don't collect 100% of the levy. The fact that we're not collecting 100% of the levy, I'm suggesting not do 14. I feel as the finances that we have within the village, that the corporate levy, the general fund levy could stay the same. Leave it at 10 million. We're not 10,334,000. Well, 7 million because the police. I got to back out the pensions. That will remain the same. For police and fire, that's your call. I'm recommending a 6%, not the 14 or the 8s that we've used in the past. And I'm recommending debt service be 6%. If you want to make those zero, I'm not. This is the first time I'm having a discussion with everyone. If you want to make them zero, but truly understand that if we're short on we'll be short debt service, so you're definitely going to move money out of out of general fund to pay off your debt. And if the pension funds don't hit the benchmarks, now I think they will, but if they don't hit the benchmarks, then you got to take the money out of the general fund to make up at least the required minimum contributions required by the required by the state of Illinois, prepared by the actuaries for both police and fire pension.
If I can, now at this point, because it is a little bit more, I do want to bring up or renew maybe Trustee Henry's motion to table it to committee, because I think that we need to discuss it in greater detail.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll motion that we bring this to Finance Committee and I'll set a date.
Second.
So my understanding is the significance of this is that we do have to pass a tax levy before the end of this year, which will also require a special meeting prior to December 30th. So we would, but I do want to make sure that as we're talking about taxes, that it's something that, one, I wanted the discussion so we at least start it collectively in front of everybody, but separately, I want to have the Finance Committee meeting, and then we will require a special meeting later in the month, all things to be completed so that the county knows what our tax base will be for next year. But I'll bring up or renew Trustee Henry's motion that we table it to a Finance Committee meeting.
That would be a new motion, and I did hear a second from Trustee Henyard. So motion by Trustee House, second by Trustee Henyard to table to Finance Committee.
Roll call.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Steve?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Holmes?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
Motion carried. What's the timeline on this? Well, yeah, it should be as soon as possible because if it doesn't pass, after the committee.
We've really got to pass this before the 23rd, which is 3 weeks from today is the 23rd, which is the last reasonable date. You got to get this thing filed with the county clerk. So preferably to have a special,
Hey, John, are you available
during the week of the,
next week? I know we won't hold your feet to the fire.
during the week of the 16th.
Attorney Murphy, why wasn't this on last board meeting for discussion on Committee of the Whole? Well, we wouldn't be right here. We've been discussing it and then now voting.
But I have two things, and this is something that, as I spoke with Attorney Murphy, that we've passed last year. We went through the discussion of a tax increase, so we set the taxes at that time. I'll say it must be my oversight that we had to, because I know we do have to announce this. I didn't expect an increase recommendation, so we didn't have this last month because I didn't communicate effectively with Conspirit Group. So having said that, we want to move quickly to get this rectified. We can set the meeting for this Thursday. I've talked to the Finance Committee meeting members as well as Mr. Kaspirik, and we can set the meeting for this Thursday at 6 o'clock so that way we can move forward.
And then you have to set the special meeting.
The special meeting?
Yeah, are you talking about the committee? Committee. So they're not going to be able to pass the committee.
No, after that.
So you have to have another special. If it gets out of committee, you have to have another special to pass it.
Special warrant.
Yes. And hopefully we can get that done before the 23rd because there's going to be some time to prepare it and then have it filed before the end of the month.
Okay.
All righty then.
Okay. Thanks, John.
One.
Couple points. Please take the time to look at the booklet. It's very informative about our tax levy structure. Like I said, I tried to prepare one that I felt was very reasonable for the village as a whole. And Attorney Murphy, I don't think there's discussion on the zero increase. I think it's more spent towards what will we do at loss and cost. So I would consider this meeting as announcing that the levy is remaining the same as last year. As far as what we're requesting, it's just a question of loss and cost now.
Yeah, that's correct. This loss and cost business is what the county will add to the levy to make up for money we're not getting. It's a very serious problem for the village that this collection rate, because we only levy, to make things simpler, we levy $10 million and we're only collecting 8 of it. That's a huge gap that the village has to deal with every year, and it's for a number of reasons, one of which is people aren't paying their property taxes. Another reason is lenders who have properties secured with mortgages don't see value in making those payments. It used to be that a lender would always protect the value of its investment by paying the property taxes. That's not occurring anymore. So this is something the board needs to grapple with, that what used to be 95% is now 80%. So to get 80 cents on the dollar makes a big challenge. The final point, to echo what Mr. Kaspirik said, is that the pension funds, the police and fire pension funds, have what amounts to a super lien on all our money. So, see my friend who works for the county, he's a police officers and firefighters should be happy about that if we don't levy what we're required to at a minimum, then the state has the right to put a brick sales tax and income tax money, so the pensions get their money. So this is the problem with the pensions is a problem that every town is facing, not simply Dolton. But these, they're all serious matters.
Okay. In some of the towns, John, I understand they have in place a 4%, 3 to 4% increase every year, which makes it a minimum amount that the property taxes are raised per resident or per homeowner or business owner.
I mean, that's
what is it? And so they don't have to vote on this every year.
Well, they don't have to hold a truth and taxation hearing,
right,
which takes a lot of extra time. If you go more than 5%, you have to have the hearing. But a lot of communities recognize that labor costs go up, every cost go up, and they increase the levy by a smaller amount, say 4%. 4% would get the village an extra, like, about $413,000. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that everybody needs to remember when they look at their property tax bill is the village, as I recall, is only about 22% of the entire tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
So if a 4% property tax increase does not mean your tax bill's going to go up by 4%. It just means that the village's portion would go up. And it's up to the school districts to decide what they want to do. But it would not result, you can't do percentage for percentage because the village is a small portion of the overall tax bill.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor, just one other point for everyone. Loss and costs do not have to be addressed once they're passed. The ordinance last year said 14% until change thereafter. I did not believe that the village board wanted to pass another 14% increase. That's why I changed it to reduce it. Once you change it, to answer your question, because I deal with a number of governmental entities, if their loss and cost is 6% and in the ordinance it says 6% until change thereafter, it never has to be addressed again because the county's always going to just address 6%. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to address it all the time in the ordinance. It's only when it gets changed does it have to get addressed in the ordinance. So that's the reason in having some discussion with Trustee House, I explained to you that I think we want to change that. So that was my recommendation based on my looking at the village's finances as a whole.
Yeah, but there's an urgency here that we get it done.
Correct.
So it can get filed by the end of the year.
One more question, may be recognized.
Go ahead, Trustee.
From my understanding, you're saying we have to do this every year going forward. It has been done every year in the past.
No, the ordinance when they're passed for loss. Well, you have to pass the ordinance every year, and you have to announce what you're doing with the operating levies every year. The loss and cost, when you pass it in an ordinance and you say it's going to be 6% for this year and all future years. You don't have to talk about it again in your future ordinances because you've already established the fact that you want it at 6%, say hypothetically, okay? If you're going to change it, though, then you have to specifically address it, whether you address it in the tax levy ordinance or do a specific ordinance that addresses loss and costs. So to answer your question, the reason I'm bringing it up is I did not think that the village board would want to continue to extend the 14%. I didn't think that was in the best interest of the village, to be perfectly honest. That just raises the rates. So I changed it on discussions and what I felt is much more palatable. Keep in perspective, before we were at 14, we were at 8. So this is even lower than we were years gone by. But of course, I agree, a conversation and to try to go into more depth with the tax levy process. That's why I think if you look at the booklet, and I wrote like a 3-page letter in there that explains, a memo in there that explains how my reasoning, the support for the pension levies, the documentation for the debt service levies, all of that's in there so that you can take a look. You can see how tax rates go up when EAVs go down. So there's the history of our EAVs, there's a history of our tax rates, and unfortunately here in the south suburbs, because I deal with so many in the south suburbs, we have this, it's tough. I'm very keenly aware of tax rates and not wanting to see them go up. So I'm doing but again, it's the services offered by the village or the city, wherever. Can they live within the means of their finances? If not, then you have to make those hard decisions, which I know you addressed during the budgetary process. So this is a means of now funding it, because this levy is tied into the appropriation that was passed for this new fiscal year.
Okay. Thank you, John. Okay, that's it. We already voted on item B for new business. Next is the mayor's report. Just want to mention the fact of December 5th is the grand opening of the new community church, the luncheon,
Senior Cafe.
the senior cafe. They're having a ribbon cutting on that day, December 5th at, I believe it's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. The operators at the community church have a feeding program that goes on every day, Monday through Friday, from 10:30 to 1:30, and they ask for a donation of $3 if you're able to pay the $3. If not, you can go there 5 days a week and eat and get a meal. They have a monthly calendar with all the items that they provide every day. So if you want to attend that, the ribbon cutting is December 5th at New Community Church. Oh, that's right. It had to be 60 plus seniors. Our turkey giveaway was a huge success. We passed out over 1,000 turkeys, and money was all donated by individuals and the businesses throughout the village of Dolton. This is our 6th year doing it, so we had a lot of people there. It's a great event. I want to give a shout out to our village clerk who donated $1,000 for this event, and she has for the last several years as a private.
Last year and this year.
Last year and this year, okay. As a private donor. So thank you very much, Mary Kay. And then our senior Thanksgiving dinner, we had about 400 people there. We do it every year. It's a great turnout. We always turn people away because they come from other towns. We want to provide our dinners for our residents. So they come from all over, city, Chicago, neighboring communities. So we make sure that our seniors get in first. That's it. Next thing is citizens' address.
Ms. London, can you tell me how I used 172 units for this past billing cycle?
I'm going to say this. You have filed a lawsuit against the Village of Dolton. We will not be talking about your water bill tonight. It's going to be in litigation.
I have the right to citizens' address, and I still have the right to ask about my bill.
You can ask, but we're not going to answer it.
Okay. Well, you won't get the money. You owe the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency $4 million in a loan for those meters, right? How much is it? How much was the loan? Because I have it in my phone.
Elizabeth,
we're not engaging, okay?
It's a $4 million, $60,000 loan through the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency for new meters to be installed for residential, commercial, and industrial places in the village of Dolton. You owe the city of Chicago in excess of $12 million. You owe Homewood Disposal in the millions. I did not use 172 units of water in a 3-month period. I had an accurate reading prior to that showed 56 units used over a total year. So how, in fact, did I use 172 in 3 months? Attorney Murphy, I left you multiple messages in regards to my water bill because they said that you were the contact person. When are you going to return my calls? You're not? Is that a yes? Is that a no? Is you don't know? Or
Ma'am, you
what?
filed a lawsuit against the village. We'll defend the lawsuit. That's it.
Okay. defend the lawsuit the best you can. Those are going to be hard questions to answer, to how I use that type of water and why you charged me at a previous balance of $2,600 and why my water is shut off right now. Why is my water shut off right now when I don't owe anything? If I was a crook, I wouldn't answer either. And you all a bunch of crooks. You won't get away with what you're doing with this water department. I don't know where y'all plan on moving, what country you plan on going to, but these fraudulent water bills, you will be going to jail for that. Just know that. It's funny now, but you'll cry later.
I actually also have a water bill concern. I've been calling the water department for a couple of weeks and kind of seems like I've been getting the runaround. My parents have the meter outside of their house, and we've been Dolton residents since I want to say maybe about 94. And my mother got a outrageous water bill recently. And that prompted me to start looking into the previous water bills, and I was concerned because I realized E is for estimate, and am I correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. And A is for actual. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why this entire year there's been estimated bills on a water meter that's in their backyard. It's no dogs, cats, lions, tigers, or bears in my parents' backyard, so I don't understand who's not doing their job and why citizens are being charged for that. And with me calling and looking, my mother has bills all the way back to 2015, and it's no secret that Dolton is in trouble with the water. And I noticed a disturbing pattern in my mother's water bill with water department, or to speak to anybody at the water department to see if I can get a legitimate answer as to why they're not reading the bills and they're only giving estimates when they wash once every 2 weeks and they have been no grass watered, no cars washed. To 2015, this is a disturbing pattern. Last year was the same situation of estimate, and then boom, actual. That prompted me to look into it, and I'm coworkers, and they with the customer, and I said, well, will she be in this day? Yeah, we'll be in this day at 9 a.m. Are you sure?
So to address the why I sent out for actual read.
That'll work for me. I mean, we're actually scheduled tomorrow at 10:30.
Okay, so tomorrow at 10.
And I also have a water meter concern. On November 11th, November the water in my basement. Because my water was turned off in April of 2018. I haven't even really resigned in the home because I had went away because I've been sick. But I come back gradually all the time to check on my house because my house had been broken into. An investigator was supposed to come, which that never happened. So I go back to my house all the time. I never really too much go in the basement, but I walk through the walkthrough upstairs. I look all through my house to make sure everything is still intact, nobody broke in or anything. So like I say, when I got there on November the 11th, my whole house was flooded. So the dampness, because it knocked out my furnace, my electrical box, my water heater, everything is damaged. All the walls are down. My whole house is just damaged. So I was so upset. I called on that Monday, not realizing that it was the holiday. So no one answered the water department per se, but they did public work. So I told them what was going on, and I was like, just upset. I said, well, should I call the fire department? What should I do? Because I'm upset that maybe my house might catch on fire or anything. So the lady told me, no, that's not our problem. You should call a plumber. So that's what I did. I called the plumber. Once the plumber took for hours to pump all this water out of my home, they discovered that the water meter was busted. So I'm like, how did that happen? So he told me something about, now I didn't even know the name of this pipe that they put in the ground in my yard, a B-box. Whatever this B-box, when they put the B-box in the ground, they didn't turn the water completely all the way off. So from all that pressure, all that time, They said the water meter was going to eventually do that. It burst. So I came up here that Tuesday. I asked to speak to the manager in the water department. I think it's you. Well, I could never speak to you. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a clue on what should I do. So I kept relaying the message through some of the young ladies at the front to tell you, the manager, what was going on. So,
Ma'am, your 3 minutes are up.
my 3 minutes not up. So what happened was, like I say, I wound up talking to Angela, who's supposed to be the manager at Public Work. Before she could even send anybody out there, because I had been waiting on them from 9 o'clock in the morning, before she could send anybody out there, she tells me, ma'am, you're going to have to just buy a new water meter and pay $75 to restore your service. You recall that?
I do. You did
Okay. No, not that day. Not that day. This been 2 weeks later. I talked to you 2 weeks later, which was last week, finally. And you still gave me the runaround after that. So I've been asking to speak to the mayor. I asked the mayor to call me. None of this never occurred. None of this happened. I wasn't even sure if the mayor was aware of this. Well, anyway, Angela, before she sent anyone out to my house to even check it out, to investigate, to see what's going on, she said that I had to break a water valve on there. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Why would I break a water valve in my own house? And the water is not even on. So if the water is not on, if I broke a water valve, if I tampered with the box or whatever, no water shouldn't have came in my house because the water is off, period, point blank. So then I went into, you sent me, I'm sorry because I really don't know your name offhand right now. So you sent me over here on that Tuesday to talk to Janice. I came in the office, I spoke to Janice, but as I was approaching Janice's office, I ran into Elizabeth. We all went into Janice's office. I was trying to explain to Janice what was going on. I was upset, like I'm still upset. Okay, so she called the Public Work, or either Matt called her, one or the other. So he's talking, and he's telling me that the young lady that he sent to my house to turn the water off, which the water was already off, but it was halfway on, to turn the water off, she said that when she went in the basement, that it was 2 bolts missing from my water meter. And I'm like, that's not true. That's not what she said. I was standing on her face when she called him. She never said that. I recorded it. She never even said that to him. So they coming up with all kind of excuses to try to throw it on me like it's my fault, but it's Public Works' fault. It's their fault. If the water was off, whether if I paid the bill, Matthew, or not, if the water was off, there's no way no water should have got in my house, no 6 to 8 feet of water, whether if my lights was on or if my heat was on. And that's all they kept going back to. They studied trying to throw it on me. It's not my fault. No water shouldn't have not came in my house. Period, point blank. Whether the sump pump was on or anything was on, no water should not have came in my house. And that's the bottom line. But they keep on saying, and then they won't even send nobody out there to even check to see if there's something going on with the pipe down there. Maybe it's something wrong with the pipe. Because even if I do get this fixed or however, it could reoccur again because no one has come. When I had to beg Tasha to go down there and look, her name is LaTasha, to please go look at the meter. They didn't even send her out there for that. All they concerned about is me buying a new water meter. What? Come and see what's going on. Come and help rectify the problem. Then Matt came to my house a whole week later when Elizabeth finally sent him there, and he came to the house and didn't, because the house so destroyed, he didn't even want to come in, really. I got that on tape too. So he came on in and he wouldn't even go downstairs to even look. He sent Mike and Mike didn't want to go. I had to beg LaTasha to please go. I had to beg Mike to go. He wouldn't go. All he worried about is, Mike, what's wrong with it? Mike said, well, it looked like the plate from the bottom is broke. Oh, well, that's probably because you didn't have no heat on. But once they discovered that I had heat on, now they want to come with, oh, your sump pump wasn't working. Whether if it was working or not, there was no water supposed to be in my house. The water was cut off. Now I get a bill. Now I seen the bill when I first came. It said that my water was cut off in April of 2018. Okay, now they give me this fake phony bill Now, if my water's cut off, how do I have a bill from then up until now, from 2017 up until now? How do I have a bill now and the water was off?
Ma'am, we're not gonna get this solved here tonight.
We not, but I need it solved because my house been like that since November
Okay.
the 11th. You won't call me back. I can't talk to
Now,
nobody. I don't know.
You out of
what
order,
to do.
ma'am. You out of order.
We'll help you deal with the situation.
I'm sorry, but like I say, I'm upset. I'm highly upset
Okay.
because I've been coming since November 11th and I'm not getting anywhere. Elizabeth called herself saying we're gonna have a little meeting, and then she said we was waiting on 2 more people or met to come.
Okay.
They started drilling me like
Tomorrow
okay,
morning, what time are you available?
up to, at 8 o'clock.
Okay. Why don't you meet here at 9:15?
I'll be here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start by first asking the residents of Dolton if y'all would please start coming to the library board meetings, the school board meetings. Y'all doing good coming to these village meetings, but see, the thing is, they're starting to notice that you all don't come to these other meetings, and it's time for you all to take your community back and show up and let them know that you're fully aware that your voice, it means a lot, and if you all stop coming, they're making decisions that are affecting you. You kind of heard an outsider definitely confirm that. So the bottom line is, I am at every last one of the meetings. Haven't missed none in probably 10 years. I get a little tired from time to time, but they get accustomed to seeing you, then they know they got to do their job, one. I'd also like to speak to what these people are talking about. I have been given proxy, temporary power of attorney, to have to speak with all 3 of you individuals sitting there. I've called myself to make appointments with you all on behalf of these people. And these are legal documents, plain and simple. And since you all are so derelict in your duty, as far as I'm concerned, you're doing theft by deception, because you're not available to the people to talk about the situations. There are job details that come with your job. You cannot keep not talking to the people because you're taking the money for it. Now, if this goes on for the duration of this year, guess what I'm going to charge you all with? I'm going to charge you all with dereliction of duties. You're taking money and you think you can evade talking to the people. You can't. And as this young lady said, there's a truth in that. Some of this is not your doing. So if I was you just getting here, I wouldn't keep letting buses run over me for something you can't explain about a lot of things. Elizabeth Scott is definitely head of administration. If you're assistant, then you assist. That means she's delegating duties to you. If you're not knowing, you get full confirmation from her. That's the bottom line. And you all can't keep doing this and don't want to deal with these repercussions because you see they're coming every month. They're going to be coming even more rampantly. And if it's left up to me, I don't feel like playing no more long games with you all, because you all have played a long game for 8 years, being in leadership and being in some of your titles. So it is time out, plain and simple. And once again, I have no problem levying charges that take money from you because you're acquiring money sitting here. You are elected. Those of you that are hired, you know what your job titles are. Quit being derelict in your duties and you won't have anything to deal with. Why don't you just deal with the situation at hand? These people cannot take care of half of their stuff. I'd also like to speak about, was there a new date for the tree lighting ceremony? Because y'all have took almost everything there is. And I don't find no humor in it. Notice I never laugh when I'm standing here. You all have literally depleted.
Ma'am, your 3 minutes are up.
Is my 3 minutes up? I got, she say 2:59 here. So see, the sad part is we got other people helping us out because we can't keep dealing with you all. Get one of those real official clocks. Really, why don't y'all post up one of those? And right quick, because see, you always mess with my time.
Ma'am, your 3 minutes
you don't
up.
want me to say anything.
Ma'am, you're done. Come on.
Don't put your hands up.
All right, then I need you to stand.
Don't put your
3
hands
minutes is up, man.
Now, here, let me show you a piece of paper that they didn't show you, where they in violation already of my rights. Don't touch me.
I'm not touching you. Let's go.
And I'm not leaving. I done walked away from your mic.
She don't have to leave. She can have a seat. She can have a
Okay,
seat.
now, on
She don't have to
public
leave.
record,
You're out of order, ma'am. You're going to be removed.
Let's go.
don't touch me.
I'm ordering you. Let's go.
Y'all all witness stand back.
Good, Mr. Burst.
Of a cut-off law.
Good evening, everyone. That actually was one of my questions. When are we doing the tree lighting?
I'm sorry.
When is the tree lighting being scheduled for, if it is?
We haven't made a date yet. It'll probably be this Saturday.
Okay. My other question was regarding the levy. If I'm asking, the terminology is lost in cost. Is that the terminology? What's the terminology?
Yes.
We're basically in the ordinance. We're giving the 6% that Kasperiak is advising us to drop down to from 14. We're basically in the ordinance. We're giving the county clerk to take that from us. Correct? Is that what that is? Because the tax levy is not increasing. It's staying zero as it was last time. The loss in cost is basically to, as was explained, to counteract because we don't collect 100%. But is that comes from the county? That doesn't come from Dolton, correct?
It's a county imposition, but it still is applied to the taxpayers.
Yeah, but we're giving the county permission to take that, correct? It's not.
Yes,
correct.
in the event that there's shortfalls like that.
Okay, so what are the other questions that are had regarding the levy that we need to take it to committee in another special meeting?
Well, I think that, I don't want to speak for the board, but the comprehensive packet that Mr. Kasperiak provided, they just got it handed to him tonight.
Okay.
So, tax levy is a pretty important thing. It's necessary. They're on the clock, but it's very early in December. So I think they're just doing their due diligence on it.
Okay, thank you.
How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, so I wasn't here last meeting, but I looked at it and I watched it. And I want to know from the trustees, that the mayor, trustees, everybody, about Trustee Tiffany Hinyard's personal affairs with mold. We spending a lot of time attacking a trustee when it's a lot of misappropriation of funds going on around here. We got a lot of time to talk about what her personal life is, but what's going on with the business of this village? We in a crisis right now financially, but we spent a whole meeting attacking her. Now it's only 3 times. It's only really 3 major ways when men attack women. 1, when they think the female is weak. 2, when they're afraid to face a man. Or 3, when they fear her. All of this is rhetoric that's produced because y'all know she coming for that mayor seat. So let's get over that. Let's stop. Don't talk, because you was a part of that attack. Because I'm gonna keep it real with you. You my brother. But again, as men, we don't attack sisters. If y'all got something about that sister, address her. Y'all attacking her. She the senior, the veteran. All of what y'all just did, y'all voted no. And then you come back around, you vote with her today. Because what he was just telling you, you had the wrong idea because y'all didn't even think it through. Y'all didn't even ask the questions. You had to bring it back up to say, man, I think Tiffany was right. Let's rethink this. It's a lot of stuff y'all need to listen to it to rethink because y'all just going along with the norm. And every time you go along with the norm, guess what happened? We get the short end of the stick as taxpayers. Know the laws. Know what she's saying. Andrew Holmes, you didn't even know what law she was talking. You saying something different. You ain't even reading the law. It's right in front of you. Come on, you a trustee, you elected. You got to represent like you elected, and you got to read these laws. You got to know what you saying up there. Don't just be up there going along because she say yeah, he say yeah, now you yeah, but you don't even know what you saying yeah to. Come on, brother, man, you my man. But I'm going to stand here, and I'm going to stand here, and I'm going to give to you.
6 months.
No. It's not about. You're right. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you about 6.
Operate here. They're going to get checked every month.
Okay, I don't want
That's
him to.
what I agree. I agree with her with the cameras and surveillance.
I don't want him to give me my.
They need to be checked every month.
Yeah, now
not
listen.
6 months.
Let me just tell you this. I understand what you're saying about it need to be checked every 6 months, right? Or every month.
Every month.
You saying it need to be checked every month.
Every month.
But here's the thing. You didn't listen. When you say
Your 3 minutes are up, sir.
no, he impeded my 3 minutes, so I'm gonna continue.
No.
Now, hold on. In all fairness, everybody else. Hold on, Mayor. Everybody else.
Mr. Bowens.
Hold on, Mayor. Don't silence me.
Mr. Bowens.
Everybody else
Mr. Bowens.
stayed over their time, and you sat there. And now, just because I'm talking,
Bowens.
don't. Look.
Thank you for your. Thank
Hold
you for
on.
your
Let
comment.
me finish. And you study interrupting me. Let me finish. Hold on, ma'am. I'm a Cook County Sheriff's police officer, so I already know
You're a
you can't.
citizen
Yeah.
tonight.
All right.
You're
You
a citizen
cannot.
tonight.
Yeah, I am a citizen, and that's why I get the citizen.
Man, that wasn't right.
So let
you
me
could have gave
finish.
him his
Thank you,
extra
Mr.
minute.
Bowens.
Andrew did speak.
Thank you, Mr.
could have let
Bowens.
him finish his 1 minute. That's not right,
Thank you,
Mayor.
Mr. Bowens. Thank you.
You let other people stay on that mic for 5 minutes. Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Bowens.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
That's right, young man.
You was wrong for that, Mayor.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you so much. My name is Daniel Epstein. I'm an attorney. I want to thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you. I'm an attorney. I serve clients in the Supreme Court of the United States and across the country, and I'm here to educate and advocate for shared responsibility for criminal justice reform. Much has been asked of you, much is asked of you all the time as members of the board, and much has been asked of officers and many of our public institutions to shoulder the responsibility for criminal justice reform. But what a lot of folks don't know is that there's something unique in Illinois, which is that our courts actually play a role in making policy on criminal justice. Our Illinois Supreme Court writes all the rules of procedure, evidence, and ethics that dictate how our courts operate. And so it's great that we're demanding accountability for criminal justice reform from legislators and officers and what have you. We also need to start asking our courts to shoulder responsibility as well. And let me give you an example very briefly. In Illinois, judges can convict someone and sentence someone and never have to explain the reason behind the sentence. Guilty 25 years, next case, no explanation. That's a big problem because people make mistakes in sentencing all the time, and if you don't explain the reason behind it, it's effectively impossible to get it fixed on appeal. The legislature tried to fix that years ago by passing a law saying if you sentence someone to a felony, you have to explain the reason behind it. But the Illinois Supreme Court rejected that and said it's a breach of separation of powers. You can't fix this, only we can fix this. But then they didn't fix it. And so it's still this way. Our courts need to shoulder some of the responsibility of criminal justice reform. And this is personal to me because as an attorney, I was the person who had to tell families that their dad couldn't come home, right? For bad reasons, for reasons that we can change in our rules of evidence that make it so that we don't allow pseudoscientists to use racist science to testify against people in our courts. So there's an election coming up for Illinois Supreme Court on March 17th, 2020. The people that you elect into that slot have the power to write rules and shoulder the accountability, part of the accountability for criminal justice reform. And I hope that you'll make sure that you pay very close attention to that race and demand that they tell you what they're going to do to shoulder that responsibility. I'm a candidate in that race. Again, I'm Daniel Epstein, and but I hope you'll learn about all of the candidates. There are quite a few of them, and there's a lot to learn. But we need to shoulder the responsibility of criminal justice reform. Thank you for doing the work that you've done on that front. I'm hoping to take some of that burden off your shoulders as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. My name is Joel Garcia, and I had the same problem like with the water bill, and I thought it was a mistake, but when I came here, I find out that for some reason they're not reading the meter, and I need to know why is the reason that they don't send or they don't have somebody to read the meter according to the schedule they have. And I mean, I don't know what they need to do to avoid the problem, because it's not just myself, there's many people in the village. And the other thing is, I received this card over the mail because I own 2 properties, not because I'm rich, not because I have a lot of money. I've been working 2 jobs for more than 30 years to pay my taxes, to raise my kids. and now they living in their second property because I don't want them to go far away from me and, not know what they're doing. So I need to know what I need to do because they say that the second property is vacant, which is not. So I need to know who I need to talk to or how to find out and to clear this out.
Problem that.
Yeah, I really don't know. I need to know what I need to do to.
Those are sent out from Champs, right? Okay, so the housing department would handle that.
Yeah, I mean, the properties are not dirty. I sweep the street. I got the brushes, whatever, everything. I mean, there's not like other properties. I understand and I agree that the village concerned about those empty, burnout properties, but not in my case.
You just come in and see Sharon in the housing department about the vacancy you received.
Yeah.
And then as far as the water bill, I need to see what your address is so we can look over your account and see if you have an outside, inside meter, things of that nature. So I'll be happy to meet with you.
Yeah, they got both. I got the outside and they got the black device, the little square, I don't know what they call it, a scanner or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do want the residents to know sometimes when you have an outside meter, if you're still getting the estimated bill, if we just missed the bill, that could be possible, but we are finding that some of the outside meters are not reading. So we are sending it over to Public Works to be replaced or fixed or that nature. But every account is different. So I can't address his account and say that the same thing applies to your account. So I do have to meet with you and see what's going on with your account individually. So I'll be happy to meet with you.
One more thing. Myself, I spend a lot of time sweeping the street, raking the leaves and everything. In my block where I live, there's more than 2 residents. They keep the garbage can outside the whole entire 7 days a week. Sometimes the wind blows the cover away or something happened and they tear.
All right, sir, why don't you provide them with that information? We'll send inspectors by and they'll take care of that.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I have a question. Trustee Henyer had asked about a bill for $6,000 for board up. How frequently does those invoices come out?
They come out within 30 days of the board up.
The reason I'm asking this is because Trustee Brown said it was only 2 board ups and the bill was $6,000. So we're paying $3,000 per board up?
It could have been a $5,000 board up, depending on what it is.
I'm just asking the question, sir.
That's what I'm trying to explain. It could be a $5,000 board up. It could be a $4,000 board up. It depends on what the board up is. They get called out for fires, and they immediately secure the building. So it depends on the number of openings that they board up and the degree of a board up that they have to do per incident.
So is it only one company that we use or do we use multiple companies?
It's only one right now, I think.
Because we had this issue, I think maybe a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, about it only being one. So I'm just asking. And also, and I was going to let this go. Trustee Holmes, I tried to contact you. Do you have a number where I can be reached? I mean, that you can be reached so I can have a meeting with you?
Sure, we can set that up this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, board, mayor, residents. Just real quick, Mayor, last meeting I had asked you about the rent or the insurance requirement for partners in community building. You said you were going to take it under advisement. Have you done that?
It's still under advisement.
And who are you advising with? The board?
No one, right now.
So you're not intending to address it?
Probably. I've had a busy schedule last month.
Okay. So, question. All of the comments about the water bill really brings me back to town hall meeting for the water bill. You have a lot of people who have issue with their water bill and they want to address it here. But you refuse to have any type of meeting to address that one thing because it's serious and people have concerns. Now the question, I know you're not going to give me an answer to that, so I'll go on. Mr. Steve, you mentioned that you're doing really well with bringing the revenue into Melanie's. Do you have an account of how much money Melanie has brought in for the last quarter? No. And what the expenditures have been, and really what that balance is? Is it really a benefit for us?
Not as right now. You can come to the Finance Committee meeting. We can discuss that.
I'll absolutely be at the Finance Committee meeting. And for, what else did I have? I think it would be a good idea for, I know you said we're not going to have a housing meeting until January. At that meeting, I would think that it would be good to discuss how all of these changes in the taxes and how that's going to impact us in our housing committee meeting. Because as a resident, we really need to understand how our tax dollars are being spent and how we're going to be impacted with property taxes. I think it's a great idea to table the vote, because there's still questions that have not been answered or addressed. And then lastly, no disrespect to you, but to have someone standing here is a bit intimidating. I'm not intimidated by you, but it can be intimidating. I don't understand why we have a guard here. It doesn't make sense to me.
City of Chicago has one, Sergeant.
We're not in the city of Chicago.
You're exactly
we're in the village
right.
of Dolton. And you like to compare us to a lot of other villages. We're in the village of Dolton. It has not always been a guard standing here.
Well,
I think it's just inappropriate. And I will bring up the question about insurance while you're taking it under advisement.
Good evening. My question is to the mayor, the trustees, Trustee House, since you're over finance. The gentleman got up and explained taxes and levies and all this good stuff. And I would appreciate it if you guys wouldn't tell me. I'd ask the trustees, there should be a hard copy of everything that you all are reading for us as the taxpayers. Please don't tell me that it's online. I would like a hard copy so that I could read along with you as you're discussing what those taxes and increases are. And I think you're doing an injustice. I don't get this. You all advertise this and that and the other on the back table, but you should have a hard copy. We are the taxpayers. Don't you guys agree? Trustees, you were elected. You were elected. There are business managers, department managers, everything that you have, we should have copies of. And you're not the only entity I say that to and I expect that from. I expect that from everyone. The school board, whomever, the library board, but you should have that. That's unfair to us. So I'm asking you, Trustee House, you said there's going to be a committee meeting on this Thursday? At what time, sir?
Thursday, 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. At 6 p.m. on Thursday, can we have a copy of that report, hard copy of the report that was drafted for you as the trustees, so that we, the residents, can have the same hard copy that you have?
I'll see if that's possible with the Conspiracy Group.
Why do you ask? Why do you say you'll see if that's possible? It is possible if you all agree on it. Don't say that it's not possible. I can get a copy from the auditor that comes to do an audit. It is possible if you agree that we, the residents, should have that. And even if you don't agree, don't you think that has something to do with transparency? I really think that we can get up and speak about all the great things, but let's make the level field, the field, make it level. Why can't I have the same things that you have? If I'm the persons that I need to know that if somebody says something about, no, that's not right, I got it. I got it in black and white, and it has been given to us in the past. I would greatly appreciate it being given to us on Thursday, sir.
So my statement is not to negate what you're saying. I'll
Yes,
make every effort to try to do that. I believe I always do, whether that be via email or hard copy. In some cases, when we say finance committee meeting, I don't know how many people will be present. We try to make enough packets for all of them, and depending on a larger number, it may not be feasible to have a 30-page document for 100 people. You're talking about manpower from people, toner, printing, and then that adds to a budget now. And do we want to spend our money on that versus other items?
Wait. I understand, Trustee House, but I think it's only fair. There was a incorrect address on the flyers that were handed that you had out tonight, and that young lady recopied those flyers while we sat here, and it was colored copies. Okay, but you guys have that information. Can we please have that information? And I don't want an email. I'd like a hard copy so that I can walk along with you.
Absolutely.
Good evening, everyone. OMA, Open Meetings Act.
Yes.
You had a young man here, Mr. Epstein, Einstein, or whatever, who is not a resident of Dolton. We have to have transparency and consistency in our transparency. There have been people who were not allowed to speak at this mic because this administration said you don't live here, so you can't speak. That's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. You do not have to give your address. Sometimes you can ask questions and get an answer, and sometimes you can't. My thing again is transparency. I will beat a dead horse. We were all handed an agenda today. And unlike Ms. Creighton, I know she's old school, she'd like to have a hard copy. But one thing that would help us, and this of course is to our attorney, our clerk, and the mayor, if we can put this agenda up on the internet to know what the agenda is and what the ordinances are, why can't we have the detail of the ordinances? Now, I was able to go at the very beginning to new business because I'm very intimately involved in understanding levies and tax levies, which is why I asked Mr. Kasparic the question, and I'm glad that it was tabled by Trustee Hinyard. But we got to have some consistency when we have this open meetings. We got to have a consistency with transparency. We were told at the last meeting there's not enough manpower to put this stuff on the website, but yet the websites are updated all the time. I see turkey giveaways, which is a political event, put on the Village of Dolton website. I see coffees with the mayor constantly updated, poorly attended gospel fest on the website. You got all of these events, as Ms. Creighton was alluding to, that's advertised on the website, but the pertinent information that a resident needs is not on the website. Now, Ms. Creighton, of course, what I'm asking for is to just put PDF files up online, which can easily be done because we are paying a webmaster, by the way. Somebody is making those changes on the website. It has to be a webmaster, or it has to be some employee of the Village of Dolton. That being said, that way we can easily print out whatever we want to do. We got no copies of ordinance number 19-0023. None of the cannabis invoices were printed for us. Nothing that you could read. So when you put at the beginning, which is very good, citizens address limited discussion of agenda items, how are you going to discuss agenda items if you don't have a copy of those agenda items? So transparency and consistency in that transparency, and adhere to the rules and the laws of the Open Meetings Act. Thank you.
I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Roll call. All in favor? Roll call.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Steve?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Brown? Aye. Trustee Holmes?
Oh, aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Motion carries. This meeting's adjourned.
Get back to the real business.
40.
Oh, it did do it.